so much for joining in today. I think this is probably as esteemed a panel as it can get. We've got Mr. Sharad Sanghi over here. We have Harsha. We have Dr. Rajendran who has also kindly joined us for this thing. Our discussion today is about AI. We've got all these very interesting stalls today. We are seeing a lot of disruption happening because of AI, especially on the infrastructure side. We're all preparing for it. We've seen a number of hyperscalers who are and neo cloud companies which are on a growth mode at the moment, and there's very large scale absorption of data center capacity which is happening in Americas, in markets like India. We're seeing the same thing happening in Malaysia. We're seeing it happening in European flap markets. There's been a lot of excitement right now, but we're still scratching the surface of the base level infra which is getting built for a much larger play of artificial intelligence. And right at the center of that artificial intelligence, we are seeing a number of large foundational models which are getting built at the moment. Some of the most aspirational projects today, where trillions of dollars are going and getting invested towards building these kind of foundational models. In this whole scheme of thing, we've got a very interesting panel which would be talking about infrastructure. Sharad, you have been, I would say, the godfather of the data center industry, but now you've stepped into the infrastructure side for AI, and you're building large-scale AI, infrastructure for AI. Would you like to give a view of what to expect over here?
Yeah, so I'm still on the board of NTT, so I've not left that hat.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, so but in the last 1 year of my tenure at NTT, we had more than 100 megawatts of pure AI infrastructure orders, right, from the hyperscalers. So when we started data centers, we started with 6 kilowatts per rack. Now, with AI infrastructure that we've currently designed at NTT, it's more than 40 kilowatts per rack for the hyperscalers. And the next generation of NVIDIA chips, the GB200, is going to require 130 to 150 kilowatts per rack. So that is the kind of cooling. So we've deployed both liquid cooling and liquid immersion cooling already at production for last couple of years. I see a lot of stalls here like Liquid Stack and others who are showcasing solutions there. This is going to become the norm going forward, because while today you can manage with fan wall units and stuff like that, but very soon with the higher density chips that are coming out from NVIDIA and AMD, we will need liquid cooling solutions. Even the government is mandating PUE requirements that are much lower than what currently exists. And I think liquid cooling is the way forward.
Great. Thank you so much. Harsha, you're on an ambitious project yourself as well, and as a co-founder for Visi, and now we're all very proud of what you guys launched, the Hanooman AI, which is a foundational model that you guys are building for India. What is your view around this whole piece? If you can step in.
Yeah. So actually, India has highest population, right? 1.4 billion. We thought India should have its own foundational models. We have to build it here, and also we have such a diverse culture, 22 languages, official languages. In fact, so much different cultures also. So who will, if we don't build it, how will others think about our culture, our context, our languages, right? So we thought we need it for India. So we started this project, the entire project of Hanooman. We have built so India's first multimodal foundational model already. We have also built entire stack from, it's a full stack solution. It starts from compute layer till the top layer, where enterprises can build solutions without any code. That's plus they can also integrate with their own workflows, because we thought it's very tough for enterprises also to come up with infrastructure models, figure out different tools and put everything together It's very complex. So we have built a full stack, and we have also released it in on October 24th. On 28th of November, we are planning to come up with direct-to-consumer executable AI for India. It's India's own ChatGPT, I can say. It's next level. You will see it after we release. It's a executable AI. It can help people to do everything in within a single window. Example, if you are planning to buy a stock, you can ask particular company, it will tell you how the trend is, and it will also allow you to buy that. That's the direction we are taking for the consumer.
Uh, Thank you so much, Harsha. Sharad, just coming back to you around India, what if you could also throw a little bit of? I know there's a lot of excitement right now. We've been seeing in the papers a lot around the AI mission for the country. There's a lot of investment which is going in over there. We're also seeing a lot of news coming in around PUE and what the government is expecting. What is your view around some of that, Sharad?
Yeah. So, so to promote sovereign AI, so that India doesn't lag behind, the government has come out with the AI mission, which is doing a public-private partnership, where they've come out with an empanelment RFP, where service providers who are providing these services can get empaneled, so that government departments as well as startups can consume these AI workloads, right? And they will offer some subsidies to government departments, etc. So they have a clause which says PUE has to be below a certain amount, and in fact they were talking about the lower that it is from 1.35, you get additional marks in the RFP.
Wow.
Right? So that's pretty significant. Not easy to get those kind of PUEs, especially in Bombay weather,
Yeah.
right? And which all our data center friends here know that. But yes, so there is a clear recognition that AI is going to create very high density data center workloads, and if we don't regulate or if you don't if you're not careful, then you'll end up harming the environment. And so the government therefore has come with this, and this is happening in other countries as well, not only in India. So in Amsterdam, in Germany, in Singapore, many other countries, with the rate at which power is getting consumed, there are some, in Germany, for example, there is a penalty if your PV goes above a certain amount, right? And in other countries, you don't have, like in Singapore, now they've opened it up a little bit, but till about a year and a half back, you couldn't build a new data center. The government was worried that all the power resources will get consumed. So you have to design data centers in a most energy efficient manner so that you can grow this, sustain this business.
And Sharad, do you think regulators are going to start regulating infrastructure in India also?
Yeah, I hope. See, the thing is, with regulation overall, there's a challenge, because on one hand, you don't want to stifle innovation, right? AI gets you a lot of benefits. On the other hand, there are not only on the infrastructure side, like for the cooling, etc., but also otherwise, there's a lot of misuse of AI from deepfakes, etc. So there has to be, and the regulators want responsible use of AI. They want ethical AI. So government has. Like the Niti Aayog has come up with the need for responsible AI. MITI is coming out with regulations for self-governing AI. On the infrastructure side, as of now, I've seen two things. One is the AI mission RFP, and second is also as an internet service provider, you are supposed to report your carbon footprint. But I'm pretty sure that they will come up with something to govern this, because otherwise this will just explode.
Dr. Rajendran, you've been a face of the network infrastructure and data center infrastructure for our financial ecosystem for the country. You've been involved with the RTGS and NEFT projects with IFTAS, and then you've been involved with the whole UPI, the whole architecture you had built, and now you have taken this new challenge at multi-commodities exchange and taking it to the next level. How are, and I'm sure you have been dealing a lot with RBI and SEBI in this. How are they, as regulators, viewing infrastructure per se and this piece? Any view that you'd like to give around this, sir?
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to compliment the setup which we are having the panel discussion. This itself is an example for you that this is a cloud actually, how these resources are utilized in multi-mode. Okay, and if you wanted to me to answer about the what is the regulator expectations, and maybe I can give my views and based on my experience that the everywhere wanted to have a secure environment, and the feature definitely whatever as Sarath said that the even Gen Zs wanted to have the liquid cooling machines to do their work. So that means the awareness and need and requirement is towards the high computing and the AI based computing systems. When the wanted to have it, when the sustainability, one of the things it is coming up, definitely for environmental and climate change requirements, and the wherever we people wanted to have it, the reduce the carbon footprint, and the that is the most important for us if you seeing the Delhi environment and seeing that one, and how do you we allow to grow such kind of things to and protect the air qualities. Definitely the new innovation whichever that the data center providers and displayed here, and it will help to build the a sustainable environment for the future feature proof requirements. Definitely we need to think about next 10-15 years how it should be looking to the things.
Thank you, Dr. Rajendran. Harsha, coming back to you, tell us about security. I mean, with AI happening, I think one of the big things for a lot of us is security, and there's so many external threats. There is blackmailing happening with deep fakes. There's so much that's happening. If you can just give us a view on security, what's happening around data, a little bit would be really helpful. Harsha, please.
Sure. At least in security solutions, how I'm looking at things are moving is in two approaches. One is proactive plus reactive both. For reactive solutions, it's like so a lot of AI, because of AI automation, so many threats can start coming in. It can be from any direction. It can be from cyber attacks, or it can be, as you said, deep fake, and also stealing the personal information and simulating those things. We should have a solutions in place which can identify this and automatically uh, stop these attacks. That's something which I'm seeing the solutions coming up. The second aspect which I'm seeing that we need to also emphasize is proactive approach. So we, using AI, it's a power. We should be able to proactively find out if there are some attacks that are going to happen, or if some new, like fake information is getting spreaded out geopolitically. Also, we should be able to identify proactively and give the trusted sources to the people. So, to make it simple, I'll take one simple example. So many times we get some news published, it goes so viral everywhere on social media. Later, if we dig deep into the source, we find out that this was created from fake, you know, just to create some geopolitical tension. Those things are happening as per the data quite oftenly. Can we come up with AI solutions, security AI solutions, which can navigate through this attacks and also go and find the source and attack it, and also educate public? This is just some examples I'm talking about, but we have to work a lot on it. Yeah.
If I may add something to what she is talking about, these protections, and this AI can use it to first start with the protecting your data center environment. That is most crucial things, and becoming because everything is going to data center nowadays, and then it is very important to protect the data center completely. I think the AI can help you. Then second thing is most requirement is whatever the ransomware attack or anything is coming in cyber attacks, how to retain our, get our quality and correct data for to come back to the business if any attack happens to the our systems. So for that also I feel the thing strongly, this AI can be used to protect the data which is required for to a business continuity purpose.
Thank you. Sharad, if there was a conversation you and I were having about different layers of security. Would you like to expand that for the people here as well?
Yeah, sure. So there are multiple. So what happens is when you're doing when you're training an AI model, right? First you start with data collection, then you do data cleaning, you do data ingestion, then you do feature selection, then model selection, then model training, then deployment, and then inferencing. So there are multiple stages. When you're looking at security, you need security at each of these layers, right? And there are many tools, right? So you were talking about deep fakes, and there are tools that Microsoft and Resemble.ai have come up with. There are people who do watermarking. A lot of people use sandbox environments to first test this out, or secure environments to test this out. Banks are using, they're doing hashing of the model to make sure that the model is correct. When you get a hash value of the model, and then you validate the model, because there could be model poisoning, there could be data poisoning. But at the same time, there could be data drift and there could be model drift. Over a period of time, data changes. Like in COVID, for example, there was a spurt in online transaction. Now, if you had just gone with a trend of how many transactions happened, it would have suddenly seen as though this is an anomaly and everything would have been blocked, right? So you have to protect against both. You have to be careful that this is not a genuine data drift or a genuine model drift, and it's actually a model poisoning. So you have to do some triaging for that. There's also, one is the preventative approach, as Harsha mentioned, one is the reactive approach. And the reactive approach, you have red teaming, AI red teaming, you have AI detection and response. So there's at least 100 new companies that are focusing on just AI security, right? So and I'm not addressing, I think most of you know the physical security in data centers, and most of you know the standard security methods that people use of encryption and two-factor authentication. So I'm not going to that. I'm speaking specifically of AI threats and how these are being solved today. But it's very, very early. There's no clear winner, and it's still evolving, right? And so there's a lot of, I think while AI brings a lot of good, there are a lot of threats that could impact us with AI as well.
Harsha, one of the big things, for models, and you're building, we're very excited about Hanooman AI coming in. One of the big problems is the output when the inference is coming out. Is the inferencing pulling out data which should not be coming out? There's a good example of a case where large amount of data set was there, and someone made a comment on a chatbot saying, "Give me a credit card number," and the models really just spat out a credit card detail which it wasn't supposed to. Uh, and we're seeing that safety LLMs is something which is going to be a way to go to regulate and self-regulate around this as ninja correction. Would you want to give a little bit of flavor around what's happening around the safety LLMs also?
Yeah. So, like one is obviously the data with which we are training. It's very important to ensure that the data is licensed. It starts from there. We can't just take and train any data. The second thing is the sovereign LLMs will also help here, especially for, I will go sector wise as well, especially for the sectors like BSFI, healthcare, defense. So they have a lot of data of their own, and they can't use general models. They have their own proprietary knowledge and data which has to be secured. So it's, at least what I'm seeing is custom LLMs is something which is coming up. So for large enterprises with their own data, with their own knowledge, they can build their LLMs for that sector specific and for their specific use cases. That will help them in two ways. One is the efficiency will increase because it won't hallucinate, or the product, the output, inferencing output will be quite high standard. The second thing is the data, the LLMs are also grounded because of this, because we are training only with their own specific data. At least these things will protect. So rest all, some other new measures might come up. From our perspective, from Hanooman perspective, that's why we came up with LLMs for sovereign use cases. Also, we have built our LLM in such a way that it varies from small language to the like large language models for specific use cases we have built. Sector wise also it can work, and we can also build custom models for the companies, enterprises which needs to protect their own proprietary information. And
Now, just coming, yeah, thank you so much, Harsha. And Sharad, I will go back to you. I know I see Deborah is, okay, 5 more minutes. Two things, then I want to cover two more topics. One is on data sharing, on cross-border data sharing. And the other is, really around the whole regulators piece. But can you also throw some light around data sharing, Sharad, Harsha, how is data moving right now? And just this thing. There was one comment. I was sitting with somebody who said there was till some time back we were talking about data gravity, and now suddenly we're talking about compute gravity, where compute is available and data has to move to where compute is. So can you give a little bit of a view?
Yeah, so there are, data sovereignty laws, pretty much everywhere, including there's a Data Protection and Privacy Act even in India. And obviously governments for sovereign AI want their data sets to be local. Otherwise, they generate all the data and somebody else gets the benefit. So one of the techniques, and I think Harsha can speak a lot more on this than I can, but one of the techniques that people are doing is federated learning, right? Federated learning frameworks where you can train a model without actually transferring data. So you can do it across compute nodes, across borders. So you can actually train models across borders without actually moving the raw data. Of course, there are other things like there's differential privacy. So for example, where the data doesn't get shared, you protect the specific information. You do data anonymization. You anonymize the data. So there's many techniques that people are doing, but federated learning is one of the most popular techniques that people are doing for cross-border, data training, model training. But I'll give it to Harsha. Maybe she can add more.
Yeah, Harsha, can you help?
yeah, so I can say there are two parts, right? One is data localization is what lot of countries have started adapting. It means that we want to keep our data within our country and it shouldn't go out. So obviously the sovereign solutions are quite important here. The second thing is cross-border. There can be cross-border sharing of data. For that, there are frameworks like interoperability. So all these frameworks, if we adapt it, so that way also we can quite be within the regulation. But so some of the countries are also coming up with very good frameworks and regulations, like EU regulation. EU Act is very good. They have so identified three types of risk, like high, low plus medium. For high risk, they have put some frameworks together where we need to understand the source of data, all those things. If we can adapt some of the frameworks there, that will also help. So by keeping innovation in mind, so we shouldn't go so deep also into regulation that innovation is getting killed.
Yeah. My last question is for all three of you, and we can go one after the other. And if there is one advice, and we can say you are on the financial ecosystem side, so working with the financial regulators. Harsha, you are building an AI model, and right now a lot of this is being Rajiv Chandrasekharan has been very vocal about a lot around privacy laws and data laws and stuff like that. So from a data perspective, and Sharad, from an infrastructure perspective, if there is one thing that you would like to recommend to your regulators as the most important thing that they need to keep in mind as we build AI and AI infrastructure of the future, what would that one thing be?
Actually, slightly, my answer could be slightly different. Because
No problem.
why? Because it is not a regulator is not preventing of any of the AI or AI recommend. In fact, they were supporting lot of initiatives to bring up the new inventions and the creating lot of modeling. And if you see the things, the fraud and risk management systems, the predictive AI started in the very long back, 4-5 years back. It started in many people, many of them started using the things. And cross-border there is not at all an issue. There is a very clearly defined demarcations how to handle the data. And when you process the two legs, one leg is here and another leg is in the another country, then you can follow the respective countries, the norms to ensure the things, the data is stored in the locally. So there is a very clear demarcation. Now it is left to the market. Market is little hesitation to understand how to use these modelings, that LLMs or the NLMs, and how to use it. Okay, and if you, when you get into the things, lot of use cases are available. People started using now. Thus they started with the compliance management, or regulator compliance. People have started to building the models. So these are the reusable models. Some of the models can be reused. Suppose somebody built for a compliance, a regulator, particular regulators, then the same thing can be used by multiple people in multiple places. And if it is something specific to some organization, that could be something, the data is which is specific to that particular firm only. Otherwise, I think it is still a lot of opportunities there. But the only thing is, the regulator wanted to say that you should be a very transparent and open, and to ensure the things, what business, whether it is the market, institutional infrastructure, or it's the banking or financial services, you should be also follow the customer and investor fairness in the any system which you are creating. That is only the ask from the regulator, if I understood correctly.
Thank you, sir. Harsha, from your view?
So from my side, at least India perspective, a lot of initiatives are happening with all the regulatory authorities. Like AI mission is coming up with 10,000 crore project. They're putting a lot of emphasis on some of the projects for the data security aspects as well. Then Niti Aayog is also considering some of this, and MeitY is also coming up with some of the policies. The good thing about India, these regulations that they are trying to bring in is keeping the diversity of the country, and also they want to protect our multilingual, because they want AI to be available for everyone. So all these things are also ethical AI, responsible AI. They're also coming up with a lot of good frameworks. So I think in next few years we'll be in a good place. I think this is the way to go. As the time goes, we'll also keep learning. We'll keep enhancing this. This is just a beginning. That's what I can say, especially for generative AI.
Sharad, if there's one thing that you'd like the regulators to think of, what is it that you'd like?
I think it's very difficult, very difficult to regulate. So I don't envy the regulators at all. I'll answer your question, but I'll just, because as Harsha also said, you don't want to stifle innovation. It's not a complex technology. In the past, regulators in the telecom sector have screwed up, right? They try to prevent voice over IP being connected to networks, phone networks, and they try to all kinds of arbitrary constraints they put because they didn't understand technology. I think this time around, there's an entire AI mission that has been set up. There has been, Niti Aayog, MeitY, and others are putting a lot of effort. There's a lot of collaboration happening with other countries, and I think if they work together with, in the BRIC framework or in the G20 framework, etc., and they have proper collaboration, I think we should come up with something that's good. If there's one thing that we'd like is, sometimes they come up with, like in certain cases, there are very strict penalties that they put if something goes wrong. So, for example, in EU, the penalty can go up to $30 million or something like that. At one time, they've also, when the earlier version of the Data Protection Act was there was a criminal, liability on the service provider. So I think as long as the government recognizes that this is something new, is consultative in its approach, and comes up with something that's reasonable, that doesn't come up with such a severe penalties, because this is going to evolve. It's not something that can happen overnight, right? And this is not true only of India, it's across the world. Nobody has really figured this out, and people are learning. So it shouldn't be something draconian that either puts the fear of God in people trying to do something new and stifles innovation. So that's all. I don't want anything draconian to come out.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sharad. Thank you, Harsha. And thank you, Dr. Rajendran. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this discussion, and I'd like to thank W.Media for giving us this opportunity to cover this topic today. Thank you.
Thank you.